Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. You guys may notice tuning in to the channel that I'm in a different location. This is actually my living room couch. The Tobin garage studio is finally getting a facelift, but it is going to put me without a home for what is looking like maybe a week, maybe two. So we're going to be all over the place. We'll post up at the studio sometimes. We'll do some right here from the couch. I brought the mural. Shout out to my boy Alex from Parks and Rec. Does great job with the canvases and whatnot. But as you guys can see, been a bit of a quiet weekend because we're trying to get some work done in there. But also, I kind of wanted the Tua stuff to settle down until we get some actual news. And today we got some national reports on where things stand with the Dolphins quarterback and what he puts. I will say, man, this has been one of those stories. Sometimes you can't tell, how much stuff reaches, but I think anecdotally you can. And even, I was going to the grocery store and I was wearing my Dolphins hat, and people are asking me like I know about it. They're not people who know what I do for a living, but people are like, man, have you heard anything on the quarterback? Is he going to be all right? Got family members calling me up asking me is Tua going to be all right? What is Tua going to do? I'm like, dude, I don't know what Tua is going to do. I don't know what Tua is going to do. I have no clue where his mind is at with all of this stuff. It's a crazy situation, but I will say I've seen a lot of people reprimanding players, coaches, NFL people, media members for having the audacity to say hey, I don't think it's the craziest thing for Tua to step away from the game. I don't think that I don't think this game, is worth, his well-being. And a lot of people have taken offense to that. I think that, how dare you say what to do with this man's life? And I understand where that's coming from. I think especially, when Mike McDaniel was asked about it, he said, if I say yes or I say no, neither one of those things is a positive for Tua's mind, right? And I think for the people who truly care about Tua, like his teammates, his family, his coach, his friends, his coach who is his friend, who very, very clearly, genuinely cares about the man. Yeah, I don't think it's one of those things that it's probably prudent for them to say anything publicly about it, because that's going to probably get back to him, and it's going to weigh different than the talking heads that are on television. But look, the reality of it is, this is why the sport is as popular as it is, and why people tune in droves every single week, record-breaking numbers. Why Tua is signing one of the highest contracts it comes with the territory. The sport is covered like nothing else, and people are going to have reactions to what they saw on a field that was pretty jarring. That's the thing that shouldn't be lost on people, is that what you saw happen to him on that football field was scary. It's not the first time that you've seen it. And I don't fault anybody who has the reaction of I don't know if I want to see this guy play football anymore. I don't know if he should play football anymore. And certainly those questions do warrant, I think, some discussion, because concussions have been such a lightning rod topic around the NFL, but really only over the last, probably 15 years, it's really gotten the care of people to wonder, and people have stepped away from the game. Really good players have stepped away from the game from it. And the thing with him that's different from your Luke Kuechly's or your anonymous linebackers from the 49ers or anybody is he is one of the biggest stars in the league. He is one of the faces of the league. Whether you want to talk about, and I'm not talking about you can talk about his status of quarterback, whatever. Tua Tagovailoa is one of those guys that whatever happens with him is a big discussion, and he is a national talking point, and this is a big part of his story. And while it may not, people can look at it and say, I saw some great takes today from Alex Smith and Teddy Bruschi, who are like, hey, none of this is good for him to hear, especially if he is thinking about coming back. And I understand that, but it's going to be hard for any Dolphin fan or anybody watching the team or his teammates or his coaches, truly and honestly, to probably be watching him and not be somewhat worried about what they're seeing on the field. And this is not the first time that this organization has gone through this with him, and so much so that the last time that this happened, it was a national scandal and cover-up because they felt like they put an unsafe player, a vulnerable player, out for the last time this happened on Thursday Night Football when he was stretchered on the field. So, to anybody out there who's like bringing the daggers out because they have a problem with somebody having the opinion, hey, I don't think this guy should play football anymore. It's probably not great for his long-term well-being. I don't fault them. I think it's a fair discussion to have. Me personally, I am of the opinion, hey, Tua can do what he wants. And Tua, I would venture to guess based on the reports today, but I was thinking this even before the reports came out today. I think, of course, he's going to give it another shot to come back. I think this man is very competitive, very driven, wants to prove his worth, is a leader, doesn't want to feel like a head injury that he can come back from in a month is going to derail the Dolphins season. I think he bears a lot of that responsibility. I do think that he holds that professional pride to him and personal pride to him. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with Tua having that feelings. But yeah, you would, to see the way that he takes these concussions and the violent reactions that his body has had, where we see the way the back of the head just, involuntarily stiffens up his body. Yeah, it's a jarring thing to see, and it's going to be impossible, I'd imagine, watching him over these next few weeks, not really thinking about it. I think we all kind of forgot about it because he went through a year where he was healthy. But I will say, he does have to protect himself better. This is one of those things where I think that maybe even he, with a year under his belt of having a go behind him, maybe thought that he doesn't have to, that he can go back to that reckless thing of extending plays. And I was hearing Nick Saban talk about this, like all these times that he gets hurt, it's always him trying to make something. And there's honor in that, but you also have to look at the long-term picture. And I'm not even just talking about his health. I'm talking about just like to make yourself available later down the road. And, this unfortunate play where he's trying to show this competitive warrior spirit about himself, it wasn't the smartest thing to do on a football field, especially knowing this past that he has and how much work was put into him protecting his head, the way that he lands. Okay, you want to have yourself in a more mobile body and you want to have yourself feeling better, fine. But I still think that the Dolphins got a really unfortunate reminder that they have to be very, very prudent in this guy protecting himself and probably in an overly cautious way. So the reports were out today. Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter both had reports today on Tua and where things stand with his health. Adam Schefter says that Tua does not want to retire. He said that Tua is going to meet doctors this week. He also, just for the record, put out that Tom Brady, the Finns will not pursue Tom Brady. Jeff Darlington added to those reports that they are letting this be Tua's choice, and they are hoping that he's apparently a little bit more honest with his symptoms than he was back in 2022 because they felt that he was maybe withholding some information from doctors. Then Ian Rappaport, he also said something to the effect of Tua and his doctors are running the show here. He has no plans to retire and, in fact, is already looking at return dates. He's seeing concussion specialists, and his goal is to get on the field when ready, but will not be surprised if he misses multiple games. I'm no neurologist. I still think, just like last time, Tua is going to probably miss at least a month of football. Like, that seems like the prudent thing to do, like to go out there and to have him be back in 2 weeks. It I think would be pretty jarring based on the way it looked when he did get hurt. But look, this is where I do defer. I'm not a neurologist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But Yeah, this is one of those things that when he does come back, the reason everybody has these talks about him and they see him, this guy who is very recognizable and has been a really awesome story to see. But when these hits happen, it's pretty jarring what happens to him. Like one is stretched off the field. This one, he's immediately knocked out and his arm goes stiff. The one where it wasn't diagnosed as a concussion, you could see him visibly shaken walking off the field. And then the thing that's crazy about it is now we go to the spot like you're going to be watching every single hit because even the ones that he gets up from. Remember what happened like the last time in 2022 with the Green Bay game, right? He has this amazing first half. He has this amazing start to the game. And then it all just kind of unravels. And like nobody knew what had happened except for like one dude on Twitter. And then the next day, Mike McDaniel says like he couldn't recall where his decisions were at on film. And lo and behold, he ends up having another concussion. So that's kind of the next level of this is that not only is there worry about the really violent ones, but what about the ones that don't look that bad? It kind of, puts you on this like, I don't know, it puts you in this spot where everything feels very, very fragile. It feels very, very delicate in how the Miami Dolphins will go about this season. A very, very important season, a season with a lot of stakes. Not to put football stakes anywhere in comparison to the importance of Tua's life and well-being, but I think that's part of this too. Is he wants to have that big performance that leads them there, and I think a lot of people have been kind of taking the one thing I found a little bit gross is with all of this is the people who are taking the victory lap. I told you not to invest on him because of the concussions or the durability thing. That one I think has been a little bit misplaced. Tua certainly did not have, up to that point, a really, really good performance. And you had garnered your own questions of, hey, is this guy going to ever have that primetime moment that shows he can lead his team? That was already a question even before the vicious ending and the scary ending to his night. Those questions were already going to rise. And they were all going to be fair. Those were going to be fair questions because when you get paid what he did, that is something that comes with the territory. But yeah, even like the human side of me, man, like it was tough not to think about like the day Tua signed his contract and what a cool moment that was for him and to think how happy he was there, but also to see his baby, see his family there, see his wife there, see everybody in the organization there proud. It's tough not to think about what worry they must be going through for the guy. And I will say, like, as somebody who covers the fight game and talks to a lot of fighters locally and has care for a lot of fighters locally, and you're always wondering, like, why does this guy keep doing it? Why is he still doing it at this age? Why do they allow somebody to keep going out there? And the one thing is, like, those guys really do need to. I never judge those guys because if they're not getting let go by their organizations and they're trying to put food on the table in a savage way that they make a living, a lot of the times they haven't reached the comfort and the availability to walk away. They have to go out there and put their brains on the line and their bodies on the line and all that type of stuff. They don't get that blessing. And the one thing I could say here with Tua that is fortunate, and it is fortunate, is that he is in a spot financially where now if he were to walk away, he's done the job. He's provided for his family. He's done it. He doesn't have to do it anymore. And a lot of the time, and he's got babies now who can't express this to them, but no matter what your job is as a parent, your kids want your time. And the older that your kids get and the more they can verbalize this stuff to you directly, it can be a lightning bolt to you, And sometimes spouses, it's not even the easiest thing because you're just kind of in the foxhole with them and they understand you and the way you tick. But your kids don't. Your kids just want your time. Your kids just want your love. Your kids just want you to be available to them. They don't really give a rat's ass what you do. They just want you to give them as much love as possible. And those are things that I think that you do have to consider. And so when Mike McDaniel tells him, I need you to go be the starting quarterback of your family, that's real. And that is something that is probably going to be hard for him to really think, because his kids aren't at an age where they can really verbalize that to him. They're not 12 and 8, and they can't let you know that and how much that means to them. But yeah, I think those are real discussions that he and his family, the important people, not the me's, not the former NFL players, not the people on the beat covering the team, or even people in the building. Those are the real conversations that need to be had. Because when all this is said and done, they're going to be the ones that'll always cheer for you. They're going to be the ones that will always be brightened when they see you. And, think about it. Like in 8 years, when those kids are, 8, 9, 10 years old, if he's even still playing quarterback, still doing it, like, that's cool. It's a pretty awesome thing that my dad does. But the thing your kids want the most out of anything is your time, and your love. And part of the responsibility as a dad or a mom is to go out there and to provide the best life that you can for your kids. Damn, this dude's done it, And so when I think about all those great loving dad fighters I see, when it looks like they probably should have hung it up 5 fights ago, but they're doing what they feel is the responsibility to their family, because that is part of what goes with it. But once you do it, if you get to the great part of your life when you can, make these decisions, I do think that's got to be part of the equation too. So, ultimately, I'm going to support the guy. If he wants to continue playing, that is his choice. That is, and it is in the hands of the doctors. If the doctors think that it's prudent for him to still play and he'll be okay, they don't think this is a catastrophic health decision, then okay. I think I hope everybody respects that decision from Tua. But yeah, there are certainly a lot of complex outlets in all of this thing about family and health and pride and all this stuff that weighs into the decision as well. So, but it does appear that he is going to be looking to recover from this and get back out on the football field, and I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised that a guy 26 years old who just knows the responsibility of being, as he said, the highest paid employee, the face of the franchise, all this stuff. I'm not surprised. He doesn't want to go out like that. There is a level of that too. He doesn't want to go out like that. So we'll just wish him the best, speedy recovery, and a full recovery. And it sounds like, let's hope this all goes well. So if he doesn't plan to retire, then we get to go see him back fully healthy, so he can go back to doing what he loves.